Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. And more importantly, welcome back to a message from Gary Gensler that we're going to start with today. We have a busy show. As always, we're going to go through Bitcoin. There is nothing else to talk about at the minute. I am sick of talking about ETFs. Let's just get them over and done with. But we are going to look at the Gary Gensler note that he put up last night on X and what it means and why he's done it. We're then going to look at the ETF wars. The battle for your money has begun. They are dropping their fees left, right, and center. We're going to take a look at that. We're then going to take a look at another price target for Bitcoin. This time, somebody is predicting $110,000. Let's see what merit there is in that. We're then going to look at the Sol chart. We've broken back past that level of resistance that we were talking about a couple of days ago. Where are we going to go now? Let's have a look at that. We're going to talk about optimism. The chart looks really good. We're going to look at some news about that. Then we're going to look at the Shiba Inu NFT marketplace. That looks really exciting, very interesting. And for Red in chat, SHIB, are you serious? SHIB is going to be the meme coin of the future, my friend. Doge will no longer be a meme coin. It will simply become Elon Musk's pet. So, with all that being said, don't forget we have the quiz in about 45 minutes time where we will give away more free SHIB and more free crypto. And if you're new to the channel, there are hundreds of ways you can help us out. The most important one today is, of course, smashing the like button, hitting the follow button, subscribe, whatever you got in front of you, press them all. And we have a poll today. Are we going to see $50,000 Bitcoin by Friday? Is that too easy? Are we going to hit $50,000 today? Who knows? But we're going to go through the news from Gary Gensler first, because this is a strange thing to post, in my opinion. So Gary Gensler, 18 hours ago, some things to keep in mind if you're considering investing in crypto assets. Those offering crypto asset investment services may not be complying with applicable law, including federal securities laws. Investors in crypto asset securities should understand they may be deprived of key info and other important protections in connection with their investment. Investment in crypto assets can be exceptionally risky and are often volatile. A number of major platforms and crypto assets have become insolvent and or lost value. Investments in crypto assets continue to be subject to significant risk. Fraudsters continue to exploit the rising popularity of crypto assets to lure retail investors into scams. These investments continue to be replete with fraud, bogus coin offerings, Ponzi and pyramid schemes, and outright theft, where a project promoter disappears with investors' money. That doesn't sound like traditional finance in the slightest. So we're going to start with that. Why did Gary Gensler, on the first working day of the week, decide that it was about time to tell you not to invest in crypto assets? What could possibly have led him to say that? My personal opinion is Gary Gensler knows as much as we do that this is going to be approved this week and we're going to get the ETFs, and he is just getting it out there first just to try and give the market a bit of a wobble. In fact, it did the exact opposite. As you can see today, we are at 46,600. I did yesterday on the stream, I did cover off the fact that there was a bullish pennant that was going to play out towards 49,000. I've drawn it a couple of times. It was just a matter of time that we were going to get towards these prices. It's not anything that nobody's ever going to be able to tell you what the price of Bitcoin is going to be on a certain day. We can only have an indication, and all the indications of Bitcoin is going to go up. Is Bitcoin going to hit $50,000, $60,000? Yes. Is it going to hit it tomorrow or today? Who knows? Is it going to hit it on Friday? Who knows? We can only give a guesstimate on where the price is going to go based on the bullish news. There are going to be people telling you we're going to be $1 million by the end of the year. They have no idea. They haven't done the calculations. They've just picked a big number out of the air and decided to tell you that to happen. Good morning to you. I hope you are well. Right, very quickly before we move on, market cap is up to 1.73 trillion. We're going to be at $2 trillion market cap before we know it. I mean, that's only a 15% move from here. We're going to hit $2 trillion. I remember in the last bull run, did we hit $4.5 trillion in the last bull run? So it's crept up. I remember when we hit $1 trillion, and that wasn't too long ago. That was probably June, July last year, maybe even August last year, where we were under $1 trillion. The volume is up considerably. Bitcoin dominance is starting to tear. Remember, about a week or so ago, we were at 9.9%. We have now shot above 53%. Are we going to see 55? Are we going to see 60%? All a possibility. In terms of gainers and losers then, this is going to be a big green day. Bonk is up. Helium is up. Celestia is up. Bitcoin SV, Lido, there's an awful lot of gainers, Brogan has made 2 videos in the last 24 hours, one about Beam and the other about Say. The one about Beam is available to the public and basically gives some price targets for where he thinks it's going to go. Something very important you need to know about price prediction videos. They are not guaranteed. That's the first one. And secondly, when you are given a price target for a coin, if we give you a price target for a coin in September last year and you watch that video today, the video is going to be out of date by 4 months. So bear in mind that when there is a price prediction video, that's really meant to be over the course of the next few days to a week, not expecting the coin to be at those prices in 2 or 3 months' time. And the problem with doing price predictions right now is, if this Bitcoin ETF gets approved, we all know everything's going to go green. If it gets rejected, we all know everything's going to go red. So it's a tightrope at the minute. But all things being equal, the longer that Bitcoin holds this price of 46.7, 46.5, that gives alts time to pump, remember. So alts can over pump during this period, and then when Bitcoin rips, they can retrace a little bit, and that would be the good time to get in some of those coins. Losers, there are a few today, not too many. GMT, Clayton, Axel, Monero, Conflux, not a lot down. Again, as I say this all the time, if you're new here, when you start to see stable coins at the bottom of the or at the top of the worst performers, that's normally an indication that we've had a massive green day. So that's the charts. Let's not talk too much about that. We've been through Gensler and what Gensler is doing. I think he's trying to preempt the news about the ETF approval. The word on the street, if you even believe the word on the street, is that the ETFs are going to be approved on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. That is the word on the street. The other bit of news coming out is, up until very recently, we were expecting the ETFs to take about 4 weeks to start trading. That would put us about February the 10th, February the 12th, something like that. That appears to no longer be the case. And according to reports coming out from Eleanor and a few others, they can start trading the following day. What does that mean? It means the money is going to come in the day after the approvals go through. That brings forward one of the 2 pumps that I was expecting. There was 3 pumps for me. One was the approval, one was the go live of the ETFs, and the third is of course the halving. So the approval and the pump, the go live pump, they're kind of going to be squashed together. So we could see Wednesday approval, Thursday or Friday ETFs go live. If that's the case, we could see a bigger pump than I was expecting. I'm quite conservative. I'm expecting a $50,000 Bitcoin on the news of the ETF approval. And I'm expecting a run up towards 60,000. I am seeing people talk about 75 and 85,000. I can't see that so early in this market cycle. I think we should be looking at a more realistic number. Now, if it blows the doors off, fine, but I want to hedge on the side of caution, and I think the psychological barrier of 50,000 and the psychological barrier of 60,000 are there for all to see, and it's going to take an awful lot of money to come in to shift us to $60,000 so quickly. Remember, when these ETFs get approved, they have to filter through. You know, BlackRock are going to go and buy $2 billion, Bitwise are going to buy $1 billion, whatever it might be. We're only talking about 5 or 10, maybe $15 billion worth of new money coming into the market. It's not the 100, 200 billion that we need to really push Bitcoin along. So the delay between the go live and BlackRock selling Bitcoin to all of its friends is how long it takes the information to filter down to retail, and how long it's going to take for retail to start to buy in to the Bitcoin ETFs, because that's where a big chunk of cash comes from towards the end of the bull run. So that's not going to happen overnight. And a lot of people, I think, are just so excited that they're missing sight of how hard it's going to be to hit $100,000 on Bitcoin. If I am wrong, I am wrong. But I just can't see us at $100,000 by February. I just can't see it. And if you know what, if I'm wrong, I will eat my hat, which is a famous expression in the north of England. So what are we going to go through first? So what's important is not all ETFs are created equally, the same way that not all funds that you invest in are created equally. You can invest in a fund that charges you 1% a year, 0.1% a year. That over a long period of time reduces the performance of that fund that you've invested in. So not only have yet with ETFs, they've already started the fee war. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. We spoke about VanEck on Saturday, and VanEck are going to be giving 5% of their fees to the Bitcoin developers for the next 10 years, I believe. Everything has kicked off yesterday. BlackRock, VanEck, Bitwise have all started to change their fees. Bitwise came in the lowest at 0.25%. 0.5% is the average for the US ETFs. VanEck is 0.25, ARK and 21 are 0.25. BlackRock said it would charge 0.3%. Now remember what you need to understand with this is Bitcoin is not a yield-bearing asset. It is not an asset like investing in farming, investing in tech that generate profit. Bitcoin is like gold. You can have a lump of gold on your table, and every year BlackRock are going to take 0.3% of that gold off you. Over 10 years, that's ignoring compounding, that's 3% of your gold will go to BlackRock over a 10-year period. Now, what you have to decide is, and this is the same with gold and any other asset like that, is the appreciation of your asset going to outperform that 0.3%? Of course it is. The best thing for you to do, as you will know if you're listening to us on an exchange, the best thing for you to do is go and physically buy the Bitcoin yourself. Then there is zero fee. That doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost you a cent. We know that 80% of people in the world are never going to do that. And we know that of that 80%, those that have pension funds are just going to go and buy the BlackRock or buy Vanguard, for example. When it comes to funds, the name of that provider tends to hold more weight than the fees. The fees aren't really talked about as much. So BlackRock are going to get a huge chunk of the pie. Fidelity are going to get a huge chunk of the pie. And each of those companies is going to be taking 0.25% or 0.3% a year off you. Now, if you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of 10 years, then you're talking about billions of dollars in fees just from the Bitcoin ETF alone. So bear in mind that they are competing not for today's gains, but they're competing for gains over the next 20 years. They know that if you buy the BlackRock ETF today and you are 40 years of age, you're going to hold that till 60 or 65 or whenever you retire. You're going to hold that for 20 years. And that's 20 years of 0.3%. That's what they want. So they're going to come in with these fees because they play the long game. And it really did. I wasn't expecting a fee war so early on in the contest, but there we go. It's happened. I'm not going to go through any more information about that. All you need to know is that the fees are going to be very, very low. It's not really going to be an active ETF at the end of the day. It's just buying and storing Bitcoin. Of course, BlackRock are going to have to pay custodial fees to a company I can't name in America who will the Bitcoin on their behalf. So all in all, positive news so far. Now we are going to very quickly jump back to X while I show you this. So this chart, I talk a lot about DCA, and the reason I talk about dollar cost averaging is, for those of you that don't know, it basically means if you want to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, buy $1,000 of Bitcoin a month for the next 10 months. Or if you want to DCA in over the next 3 months, DCA in at $900 a week, something like that. Now, the reason we do that is it takes out the volatility in the market. So if you go and buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin today and it's at $47,000, if the ETF is not rejected but delayed and the price comes down to $36,000, you've missed the opportunity of that $36,000 Bitcoin. And you've bought it at $47,000, and in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. If we're going to run up to $200,000, it doesn't really matter what price you buy it at. Did I get some good sleep? I got some good sleep. I am awake. I'm a lot more on the boil today. I've got coffee. I've yesterday I was dying on the stream. Your name comes up it's Jason. Jason, your name comes up. I cannot read your name. So anyway, long story short, this is a very good graph explaining that. Let's not call them plebs. People who started daily dollar cost averaging at the all-time high on November the 10th, 2021, are now in profit over 70% on their total investment at a cost of $27,000. What does that mean? This dot here, I don't think you can see it. Let me make it a bit smaller. There is a dot here, which is the all-time high, and there's a white line here. If you bought Bitcoin at the all-time high and you bought it every single day between then and now, the average cost of your Bitcoin would be $27,000. Think about that. We're at $47,000 today. You were starting to buy your Bitcoin at $69,000. The dollar cost averaging is something that everybody should be doing. I have been buying Beam, and I've been buying Beam every 3 days. I bought it at 2 cents. I bought it at 1.8 cents. I think I've got some at 1.7 cents. So my average is about 1.8. And whether I bought it above the price that it is today or below the price that it is today, I've got an average. With Bitcoin, it's the same thing. People will always say, I've missed the boat. People buying at $69,000, I've missed the boat. You haven't missed the boat. You just have a lot longer to spend on the boat before you get to your journey. Because if we do hit $150,000 or $250,000 this bull run, you will have 3x'd your money in 4 years. The people that bought at $16,000 12 months ago, they've already 3x'd their money. Remember what I say all the time. This is a train journey. People get on and off the train at different stops. People who got on the Bitcoin train at $1,000, it doesn't matter about them. If you're getting on the train today at $47,000 and you get off the train at $200,000, you've 4.5 extra money. It makes no difference what other people paid for Bitcoin. You're not too late. That's the message. Even the people buying at $69,000 who've dollar cost averaged in for the last 2 years are now 70% in profit. That's the way to look at it. And that's why dollar cost averaging in is also important for dollar cost averaging out. So when we get towards the end of this bull run, which could be any time from summer to winter next year, you don't sell everything you've bought in one go. You start to sell maybe 10% a week, 5% a week, whatever it might be, and you dollar cost average out of all of your positions. Yes, there will be coins that lag. Bitcoin is probably going to hit its all-time high before Ethereum does. You know, altcoins like Cardano and XRP, they might run another couple of months after Bitcoin, and we get the alt season and things like that. So dollar cost averaging out is equally as important as dollar cost averaging in. So that's the message to take away from that. And it is important. And if you don't understand dollar cost averaging and you want us to make a video about it, we are more than happy to do so. Right, let me drop a box before we go on to this article. Again, another target. Let's see what this person has to say. But first I'm going to drop a box. Let's see if I can see any. You know what? I'm not. The spam today doesn't seem to be as bad as normal. Also, if you ever see anything that says code from the host, claim fast, ignore it. The only thing I will drop will be a red envelope or a red box. It's all I'm ever going to drop. Jason, I hope so. I think everything that's gone on, I put a couple of messages into Telegram a few days ago. And the important thing to remember is you've spent 2 years you've had 2 years of pain, basically, from the bear market. 2 years of absolute pain. Remember that, and don't let these traditional finance companies separate you from your profits too soon. Maybe you're going to make a 10x or a 20x in the next bull run. Maybe you're going to make a 5x depending on your portfolio. But make sure that you're the person that takes the most profit, not Mr. BlackRock, not Mr. Vanguard, or whoever it might be. Right, let me drop this. Okay, 1 second. There we go. Oh, I do feel an awful lot better than I did yesterday. Funnily enough, just before I went live, I heard a crack of thunder. And whenever there is thunder, there's always power cuts. So literally 5 minutes before I went live, there was a crack of thunder. And I'm like, oh no, here we go again. There's going to be a power cut. Good morning, Kishan. I can see you in chat. Right, let's leave that down. Remember, smash the like button. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. Yeah, the spam. I mean, the thing is, the spam bots, they just ruin everybody's experience. You know, there could be people in chat that ask me a question that I don't see because I'm reading an article or talking to somebody else, and if I don't see their comment, they're either going to think I'm ignoring them, or they're going to realize that, you know, there's no point in asking questions because the spam is just flooding the chat. So Bitcoin is going to $110. Crypto analyst reveals major factor pointing to a 100% Bitcoin upsurge. Who is this gentleman? Don Alt, who accurately called Bitcoin's price floor earlier this year in a recent strategy session shared with his 55,000 subscribers. He revealed his roadmap, suggesting Bitcoin could surge. There's the magical word. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It could go, it would go, it should go. Obviously, he's not going to say it is going to go, but you understand the point. I could quite happily sit here and say that Bitcoin could hit $1 million in the next bull run. and be like everybody else and go for the clickbaity titles and things like that. But I try to temper that to try and not sound like everybody else. So it could hit $110,000. A key element is around the halving, which takes place in 3 months' time. It could have a crucial catalyst for Bitcoin, setting the stage for a parabolic ascent. You mean like it has done for the last 3 or 4 bull runs? I suppose if you go back, you look at, I'm going to look at the price in a minute. We're going to see where we could go. While expressing a long-term bullish sentiment, he also acknowledges the potential for a short-term retracement. Bitcoin might retest support at $32,000 by April of the following year. He sees this as a temporary setback. Now, my issue is, I agree that after the halving, we normally have retracement, and the problem I've got is we're basing the retracement on the current price pre-ETF. So I'll show you what I mean when we get to the chart in a minute. So he sees it as a temporary setback on the path to Bitcoin's broader upward trajectory. Looking beyond the short-term fluctuations, he envisages Bitcoin reaching $90,000, $100,000, $110,000 by 2026 or 2025. I mean, come on. It could go up, it could go down, it might go sideways, it might be this year, next year, the year after. I mean, be a bit more specific. We think the all-time high of Bitcoin is about 18 months after the halving. That's kind of what people say. So if you take it from April, which is the 4th month of the year, you add on 18 months, you're potentially looking at December 2025. So between now and December 2025, we've got 2 full years. We should see, on the whole, mostly upward action. And that's what we're going to take a look at in a minute. As the crypto community eagerly awaits the unfolding of Bitcoin's future, Don Alt's analysts add an intriguing perspective, balancing short-term caution with long-term optimism. He envisions a path that could lead Bitcoin to new all-time highs. Well, it would be an all-time high once it passes $69,000. The crypto market is inherently volatile and unpredictable. We know all of these things. Why is this included? Right, let's go and have a look at the chart. I'll tell you what I think is on the books. Well, do you know what? I'm not in England at the minute. I'm in Gibraltar, believe it or not. So I'm on the south of Spain, and we're getting some storms. We had a 4-hour power cut on Sunday night, and now we've got a storm. Anyway, so I'm going to have very quickly, I'm going to do this on the fly. So we're not going to look at too much short-term price action. I'm going to try and take you. So if you imagine that we are potentially around here, this is where we are. Now, it's slightly different in the fact that we've had the news about the ETF, but we're roughly at the start of the beginning of this huge run up here. Okay, now if we very simply copy that line without any kind of action whatsoever, and we say that we could do this, we'd be looking at 89,000. We're not going to do it from there. We are going to do it from where we are today. There we go. Now, like I said, this is a pie in the sky. So if we do that kind of movement up, we would be looking at $102,000 by September. So $100,000 by the end of the year. Just pie in the sky line. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do it a little bit more scientifically. We've had a double top here, which wasn't expected. And I think this all fell into the problem with the pandemic, which we had. And this probably was our real top. This was probably fueled by the pandemic. I mean, it's hard to kind of explain. We kind of should have done, there's my shoulda, coulda, woulda. We should have done this, but we didn't because of the pandemic. We came up, we had the pandemic, we came down and we came up again. So it was a very so it kind of got broken into, it got snapped. And that's why we ended up with this weird, strange situation that we ended up in. I think we could be at 69,000 by April. So if we look at what kind of price targets we've got to get to, we have our fib level at 48.5, and then we have our price target at 50. Now those are the two price targets that I have been talking about for a couple of weeks now. So this area here, we have to break, which is there. 48.5 to 50 is pretty much nailed on. If we get an approval, then we are looking at 57,000, which is coincidentally the first of the two peaks that we had. So before we start talking about 100,000, let's get to this line here, and then let's get to this line here. Now, if we're sitting at 57,000 by April, which is the halving, we could potentially see a 80 to 90,000 Bitcoin before the end of the year, if the ETFs do what they're meant to do, because they'll have 10 months. The Bitcoin supply is halving. 6 months after April takes us to October. That's when you really tend to see the shortfall kick in for Bitcoin. So towards the end of the year, we could be heading towards the 70s, 80s, 90,000 dollars for Bitcoin. And then next year, we are going to go to the moon. So in the short term, 48 to 50. By April, I think we should be challenging the previous all-time high. And by the end of the year, we should be on our way towards $100,000 potentially. I have energy today, Mike, and the market too. Yes. You go out, you get some fresh air. I will see you very soon. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. So I think that's what we need to get to. That's the first line in the sand, $50,000. Let's get to that today or tomorrow, and then we need to start looking up towards 57. And like I said, there are people on stream that I've been listening to. They are talking about, let me just put a line in. This is the target that they are talking about. We're going to add this on here, which is about there. So that's the target that lots of other, lots of proper TA people are looking at, is 87,000. Now, I've not done any TA to get us to that. I think that's a long way off, but I think we are probably going to get there by the end of the year. Now, one thing I do want to go on to without an article is Solana, because we broke a very significant mark. Are we still above that mark? Are we now sitting at it? There we go. Okay. So we've drawn some lovely charts which have played out beautifully. With different coins, especially Ethereum, there are a lot of numbers which are very significant to those coins. And with Solana, for me, it's $100. And when we fell down, which was about 3 days ago, 4 days ago, when did we fall down here? We broke underneath on Friday, I think. We broke underneath on Friday. So for a few days, when we did this and we came down to bounce off our long-term trend line, my worry was that we were going to do this. My worry was this, and we would bounce off $100 and come back down again to about $88. Look back on the stream, you'll see that that's what the target was, about $88. Then we've had the news that's come out, and we're coming back up and sitting at this $100 range. What we need to see, very similar to here, is we need to see this. We need to see that. We need it to come back up, break above, hold it as support, and then move back up to try and challenge this $121 Solana. Now, there are a lot of people saying that Solana isn't going to go to this, isn't going to go to that. It's not going to go to $1,000. It's not going to go to whatever. I think a conservative price for Solana is $400 to $500 at the end of the bull run. That's conservative. It's a 4 to 5x from here. That gives it $160–200 billion market cap, which is roughly near about what Ethereum is now. I think based on the activity on Solana, I think it's more than achievable. Hitting $1,000 is, and 10xing a coin of this size from here is going to take something. But we need to hold $100. If we don't hold $100, we're going to come back down to this line. And I would be looking to buy Solana at $88 if we don't hold this line. If we do, and Bitcoin does have its, day in the sun, and it does get approved today or tomorrow, then we could see something like this happen on Solana. That's what could happen. But again, it's very difficult to make predictions because it's like, what do you want? Do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of coffee? Yes, but the train's coming. We don't know when the train's going to turn up. So we sit down and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and then we just leave it because the train's turned up. Bitcoin is going to take everything with it. Bitcoin is going to drag all of these puppies down the road when it goes. Okay? Yes, Bitcoin is going to fly first. Yes, it's going to hit maybe 55–60% Bitcoin dominance, but the altcoins don't stand still. They do bleed against Bitcoin. So what that means is the value of Bitcoin will go up faster than the altcoins. But it doesn't mean against the US dollar that it doesn't mean that Bitcoin does this and Solana does this. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that Bitcoin will go up like this and Solana will go up like this for now. Then when alt season kicks in, Solana will do this. So bear in mind that Bitcoin is going to run. Bitcoin is going to outperform everything else in the market against itself in the the Bitcoin Solana pair. But the Bitcoin USD is going to still outperform the Solana USD. But that doesn't mean that we're going to have a $100 Solana in 6 weeks' time when Bitcoin's at $55,000. It means we're probably going to be at $120, $130. So it is going to move up, just not as quickly. But this battle here at $100 is very significant because we need to see if we can hold it. That's what we need to do. We only came back up over here, but if you look, I think it might give way. And if it gives way, we could come back down towards this. But again, it's impossible to say with Bitcoin. ETFs on the horizon. Now, we've covered Arbitrum on here, which is a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. Very quickly, we're going to go and have a look at OP, Optimism. Full disclosure, I own a very small bag of Optimism, and I don't hold any Arbitrum. I do hold Ethereum, I do hold Matic, but these newcomers, these new layer 2s, I don't really hold a massive amount of. So OP is down 30% from its all-time high. Can $3 support hold? So it had a bit of a run-up, and now it's retraced. What changed was that Ethereum dropped all of the fees being charged to layer 2s. So Matic, Optimism, Arbitrum all had its fees slashed. What happened to Arbitrum and Optimism? The price skyrocketed. What happened to Matic? Absolutely nothing. Matic is still sitting there doing nothing. It's one of my picks for a big pump in the near future. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Optimism. So Optimism price hit $4.20-ish at the end of December. And yeah, record-breaking network usage milestones. New chains are going to do this. New projects are going to do this. And it was pumping up, but it has retraced. We're going to go through the chart in a minute. The downward trend appears to have caught bullish futures traders unaware. Indicatively, the price downswing on Monday was heralded by widespread liquidations in the derivatives market. The Coinbase liquidation heat map chart shows that OP's negative price action wiped out $2.8 million of futures. And there we go. Very nice. A liquidation, we know about that. So the open interest has shrunk. Now, this is normally when a coin is in the spotlight, it will run. This is what I've been saying about Matic. Matic's not in the spotlight. It's doing nothing. But the project is sound. Optimism is no longer in the news. That is say not Optimism. There we go. Let's try again. So, what happened? If we go back just a tad. Actually, I should have just put the daily chart on to begin with. This was the chart I had. So, OP, as early as June, was trading under $1. The red zone, that's the zone you want to be buying coins in if you believe in the project. Say this before, say it again. Meme coins can do this and just go off the bottom of the chart. They can disappear. Real coins with real solid foundations don't tend to disappear and die. Matic, ADA, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, these coins should be here, or should I say will be here in 3 or 4 years' time. Because of that, when the price action is down here and the market is bearish, this is when you should be accumulating your Optimism. Now, I have no idea what price I paid for my Optimism. I should probably go and find out. And I don't hold a massive bag of it. I probably only got $50 or $100 of it. I don't know what it's worth now, but I didn't buy an awful lot of it. The point of the matter is that when you have this run up, remember now, we touched this level here, which is 322, which I'm going to come to in a second. This was its first kind of pump out of its range. This was its price discovery. And again, I like to draw these lines because they are very useful to show patterns repeating itself. Okay, so from that level to that level, we kind of did something similar there. That's probably a bit better. Kind of did something similar. So because I think this is a sound project, we have to say to ourselves, this is likely not, for the love of all that is holy, there we go. I'm not expecting this to happen because it's a coin that I think is going to have a big future. It's going to make a lot more money now that Ethereum's dropped its fees. So what's it done? It's come down and found support at previous resistance again. And it's stuck. It's stuck here for 3 days now, 4 days, something like that. Okay, so what's likely to happen? Well, we've hit this peak here at 420. We're kind of now at this lovely support band. So where are we likely to go? Well, personally, I think we could do something like that and move up, because this is healthy. This retracement to previous resistance is healthy. It's happened on so many coins in the last 6 months that we've looked at. It's as if it's written into the charts, which of course it is. You come up, you find resistance, you break it, you come up, you find resistance, you come back to support, and off we go. And that appears to be what's happening with optimism. Now, if we break down, if the ETF is delayed, we should come down to the next fib level, which also coincides with this area over here. I really can't draw for toffee, but there you go. Which is about 260. So for me, optimism, 260 is a good price to buy. However, I do think, all things being equal and Bitcoin not running to the dogs, I do think we should hold 326 and then move up. And I do think we could be looking at a $5 optimism in the near future. I could redraw the fib levels, but I'll do that for another stream. I do think it's going to hold, and I do think we're going to move up. I am bullish, but there is a buying opportunity. The other buying opportunity is, of course, down here. So we have two here, but for me, $2.60, $2.20. If this goes to $10 or $15 in the next bull run, it doesn't really matter when you're getting it $2.20 or $2.60. It's a good coin, it's a good project. Remember one very important thing, none of this is financial advice. Everything I say here is for educational purposes only. That's something to bear in mind. So that's optimism. We are at 11:46. We're going to skip. Oh no, we're not going to skip. We do have one last article to look at, which is the SHIB article. Now, just bear in mind, the gentleman in chat before who was saying, SHIB, are you serious? Yes, I am deadly serious. Sayed, you live in Turkey. I'm very sorry for you. I am very sorry for you. Anybody else in chat? Just so much spam. I can't read anything. Sayed's not very happy at the moment. I can't really help him, to be honest, Sayed. I get asked 20 times a stream. So I don't know. I'm not a... Unfortunately, I'm not a charity. And I don't have the money to help everybody that asks me for it, so I do apologise. Right, Shiba Inu unwraps the Shibarium NFT marketplace. Access with Bone. So there you go. Over half a year ago, Shiba Inu introduced Shibarium, the Layer 2 scaling network. Now Shibarium's official gas fee token, Bone ShibaSwap Bone, gets a new utility case in emerging Shibarium's NFT marketplace, as described by SHIB Token's market lead Lucy S in a recent message on X. How to buy Shibarium NFTs? Follow these steps. Prepare Bone and ETH. Ensure you have Bone and ETH in your wallet. Set up Shibarium network. Open your wallet browser and add the network, bridge, blah, blah, blah. There's an awful lot of information in there that probably isn't necessary. The remaining step before entering the NFT markets will be to open the Shibarium bridge to put Bone inside a Shibarium compatible wallet. This can be done via the official Shibarium gate on ShibaSwap or shibarium.shib.io. So it sounds way too complicated already for 95% of retail. Anyway, so we shall carry on. As Cryptosphere awaits the decision by the SEC, SHIB fell to monthly lows but rebounded to trade at the time of publication. Shibarium's gas fee token slumped by 3% in the last 24 hours, successfully retesting the fundamental support at 60 cents as the daily low oscillator, and now trades at 62. I would go and check it out. The most important thing for me about any meme token is the transition from meme to community/utility token. Shiba Inu is the best example of that. I don't care what anybody has to say on that matter. It's better than Doge, it's better than Pepe, it's better than Bonk. It blows everybody out of the water. This should be the #1 meme/community coin in the world. Bar none, no competition. They're either playing catch up or they've sat on their hands and done nothing. That's my opinion on other meme coins. I am not saying other meme coins aren't worth buying. I love Gecko. I love Guac. I love Snek. I love lots of coins. I've made videos about them. They're great projects. But when we're talking about an OG meme coin that's going to do well and going to do well into the future, that has utility, has a burn mechanism, has a community, has games, has a metaverse, it's SHIB Inu. I can hear an awful lot of thunder coming this way as well. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to say goodbye to those people watching not on an exchange. So thank you for coming. Remember, if you are new here, please smash the subscribe button. It is very important to us that you give us a follow. We stream every day at 11 o'clock. Every day, except sometimes on Sundays if I have a lie-in. But most days, Monday to Saturday, 11 o'clock. We're streaming tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We are streaming all through the week. If we get the ETF approval on Wednesday, there is a good chance that myself and Brogan are going to do a special stream. We may or may not have some cocktails on the stream to celebrate. It will probably be Wednesday night or Thursday night, depending on the news. So stay tuned for that. And there is a poll, and the poll question was $50,000 Bitcoin by Friday, and 100% of people have said yes. So there we go. That's the news. Right, I'm going to put the stream on pause for about 30 seconds while I turn one of the streams off. And when I come back, we are going to do the quiz.